We live? Yeah, we're live. Hey, everybody. Good morning. Hope everybody is doing well. I'm still battling COVID. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to help you process the market. So let's talk about my prediction yesterday morning. I predicted the SPY would shoot up on open. We were sitting at 402 on the SPY. I said 404 and a half, 405. That would be the time I would enter puts. What happened 30 minutes after open? We went like this, shot directly up to $405. What happened after that? We kind of just fell off a cliff. We went right down to 402. Did I think that was it? No, because I told you that I thought we would see support right at the $400 level, $400.50 to be absolutely specific. And if we look at the bottom level of the SPY yesterday, it bounced off $400.50. Now, here's the catch. As it went back up, it came back down and we closed. Let's just see where we closed around on the SPY. $400.59. Now, the SPY is up pre-market, but understand on selling days, usually there looks like there's going to be a bounce the next morning. So if I'm going to give you my prediction, which I will, you're going to have to stick with me. The first thing that I like to do every morning is I look at my Twitter account and I look at the biggest stories that can impact the market and I jot them down. So here we go. I'm going to share some of the biggest stories, and this is going to affect the market. So Meta has earnings this week. Now, there aren't a massive amount of premiums being spent, but if you look at most of the largest contracts being purchased, they are all above the ask to the put side. So what does that tell me? It tells me, okay, sentiment around Meta is bearish. Now, we know Meta is one of the big five tech players. And if we say, okay, Meta sentiment is bearish, well, then you have Snap, Pinterest, other social media sites that are probably going to have the same problems that Meta have around advertising, pay advertising. Then I look at the breaking news. Okay, Australia retail sales, actual minus 3.9%. Previous minus 0.2, so 0.2. There was the forecast. Previous was 1.4 in the positive direction. So retail sales in Australia are actually missed by about 4%. Well, shit, that's terrible. That tells me Australia is struggling and could be heading to recession. Okay, that's Australia. Australia doesn't matter. Okay, well, how about Germany? Germany retail sales year over year. The previous was negative 5.9. Oh, that's horrible. Negative 5.9. The forecast was negative 2.6%. Okay, if we hit the forecast, at least it's getting better. The actual was minus 6.6%. So the forecast is up here. We're down here. The previous was here. It's still going lower. And then if you look at information from yesterday, I think it was Spain CPI or PCE was predicted to go down. It actually went up. And then I also heard gas is going up. So here's the point. We could be doing one of those bell curves where it actually spikes back up. Things are getting a little more expensive. Sales are coming in definitely less than expected. And this is globally. So we're talking about possible global recession. So yeah, I'm still sticking to my guns here. And I'm saying we're headed into recession this year. So again, it means, and it doesn't mean you have to trade like that today. It means that if you're a long-term stock player, I would urge caution. I would tell you the same thing I tell my options traders, which is if you're in a stock and it spikes and you're seeing some resistance at whatever level it's at, that's how you get out. You take your profit, you wait for it to come down. You don't have to play it on the short side. You sit on the sidelines and then you get back in. As far as when I talk about the SPY levels, which I will get into, but when I talk about the SPY levels and I talk about a peak or resistance or support or something like that, you say, well, I don't trade the SPY. I don't trade SPX. I'm trading Ford. I'm trading Alcoa. I'm trading Wynn Casino. That's okay, you trade those because when the SPY or when the market gets to a top level, let's say 405, which was resistance yesterday, everything at the 405 level, no matter whether you're in Amazon, Google, Apple, Tesla, it's going to come down. So if you're in Tesla calls and the market's peaked and you're still saying Tesla's going higher, no, if the entire market's going down because the SPY is going down, so are your Tesla calls. So are your Apple calls. So if you're in calls, it was time to get out and see your profit. Now, me, I played the put side yesterday, but we had people on the platform play the call side from the 402 entry point, the spike all the way up to 405, and they secured profit because they knew that was going to be the top. All right, so I'm not done looking at information. Another interesting point, Samsung Semiconductor, right? Profits plunged 97% year over year. Understand, Samsung, okay, actually undercuts the competition. So everybody hears about the chip sector and things of that nature and how it's growing and how there's so much demand. However, Samsung goes in and undercuts the competition, meaning whatever chip costs them, let's say $500, they're selling it for under cost so they could take market share. Who does that hurt? It hurts a Micron, it hurts an STX, it hurts Intel, as we saw with Intel's earnings. It hurts AMD, it hurts NVIDIA. Okay, great. Let's talk about chips and my play yesterday. A couple of days ago, I said Carvana because used cars, boom, they're back on the rise. What else? Carvana was one of the most heavily shorted stocks. I think it's number 3. So when Carvana is $6.23, and I say time to enter, and it ran up to, I said $11 yesterday. It didn't get there yesterday, but it was up 10% pre-market, and it actually breached the $11.20 this morning. So there are other stocks like that that show interest. Anyway, a couple of days ago, what was it? Friday, I mentioned at around 2:39 p.m. on Discord, there were huge puts being bought on the SPY. Then what did we see? SPY was 408, dropped down to 405 and change where we closed out on Friday. Guess what I saw yesterday? Large bearish puts on the SPY. What did it happen? Just after market close. In fact, I think I can show you if I add this, what exactly I'm talking about. Let me just go back to Discord. Let me go to my channel on Discord. These are types of information that I share. Now, obviously, if I was live all during the day, I would give this information out to a whole bunch of people. But here we go. Large bearish put spike after market close. So understand, as the market closed yesterday or just after, somebody entered a large amount of put spikes. Now, generally, I don't even mention, but the size of this purchase was similarly to the one that was made around 2:30 on Friday. And what did we see on Friday at 2:30? The market dropped from 408 to 405. That's a 0.75% drop. That's pretty significant. When the entire market drops almost close to 1%, huge. So do I see that happening today? Okay, well, again, we spoke about all of January and we're not done with January. What's been happening? They've been buying the dip, buying the dip, buying the dip. Last week, buy the dip. Yesterday, they started buying the dip, 402, 405, and then finally, there was no recovery yesterday. We closed towards the lowest level. And when you say, why do we close towards the lowest level? Then you said, we have consumer confidence on Tuesday. We've got the Fed speaking on Wednesday. Remember, the Fed's going to mention interest rates and the rise in interest rates, 25 basis points. We all know it's baked in. That's going to happen at 2 p.m. So what's most important on Wednesday? Well, Jay Powell's coming on and he's speaking at 2:30 after they announce the Fed notes. So the point is, and he's going to do a Q&A, and that never goes well for the market. So understand, then we have all those earnings on Thursday. I mentioned them yesterday. I think it's like Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta. I mean, you've got all of the major players. What else did I mark from yesterday? Okay, US dollar. I talk about the US dollar a lot. It's very simple. Okay, you want to simplify your trading. You look at the US dollar and the symbol is DXY. As the US dollar goes up, it's more expensive to invest in our markets. Why? Because our markets are so heavily levered, meaning you're borrowing money. I don't care if you're borrowing from a bank, an institution, whatever it is, but if you're borrowing money and the rate is going up, which it is, because I just mentioned interest rates are going up again. So as the US dollar goes up, it makes it more expensive to invest in our markets, usually pushing bearish sentiment on our markets. As it goes down, vice versa. If we're having a soft landing and you see the US dollar going down from 102.49, then it goes to 101 where it was a couple of days ago, and then we break 100 to the downside, understand the markets are going to be booming. You're going to see the SPY at 410, 420. But as the US dollar goes higher, and if we see the US dollar was, a few months ago, 113, 114 at the high, it's stuck around 111, 110.50. I'm like, okay, that's a teetering point. We went under, the market got stronger. That's exactly why I'm here. There are so many extra things that you, the average trader, should be looking at to help improve your skills. Okay. Let's mention the trade that I got into yesterday that I announced. What did I get into? AMD puts. Why? AMD was sitting at what? $73.50. Now, granted, my timing sometimes is a little early, but lately my timing has been spot on, meaning I get into puts, a few minutes later they drop. Now, it wasn't instantaneously yesterday, but AMD puts, I got in $73.50, made the announcement. What else happened yesterday? Apple, 1.2 million out of the money puts with a February 3rd expiration, a strike price of 140. So you're saying, all right, well, Apple's close to 140. Yes, but it's still out of the money. And someone spending $1.2 million is a lot of money. Then we have the same thing with Tesla, $3 million worth of unusual puts around 12:18 p.m. yesterday. Where was Tesla trading? 172 or something around there. What happened after? It actually peaked a little higher and then it dropped. So understand, when you use these Discord services, and let's just bring up Discord again. Let me just see if I can add that in and show you exactly what I mean, because I want you to know how to use Discord. You don't just join and just like follow people like you're a lamb. No, you go on Discord and you'll use option sweeps. So you'll see what's going on, where the largest sweeps on. Okay, exiting yesterday at 4:02 p.m., you could see they were purchasing Boeing calls. So I might say, okay, well, I might look at Boeing if I wanted to be positive on the market. If I thought today was going to be a green day, I would look at Boeing. I would look at the airlines. I might even look at the cruise ships or casinos, because those are specific Dow plays. If I'm going bearish today, I'm looking at, I see call sweep, Apple. Anytime they do a sweep, that means they're sweeping them all off the board. Okay, so you have Norwegian Cruise Lines right here. Let's just see if that's a bullish or bearish one. Okay, that's bearish. Baba, obviously bearish. Now ServiceNow. Okay, so I like to stay away from companies like ServiceNow. They don't really have any point. Okay, so let's go right into the SPY. Okay, how would I use our Discord service if I want to tell you what's going to go on in the market today? Right? Is the market going up or down? Yesterday, we know they bought the dip, then it sold off. Today, are they going to buy the dip? The market's down pre-market. 400 is an extremely key level on the SPY. So as we closed at 459 cents yesterday, and we're sitting at pre-market 491 cents. So actually the 400 is showing good support. Well, how the heck would you know that 400 would show support? All right, we go back to Discord. Now you guys hear me talk about the dark pool levels. Now, again, I mentioned this previously, and I'll mention it again. Let me just remove it from the screen and then we'll pull it up. Dark pool levels. Understand that over 50% of the money that is traded on a daily basis happens in the dark pool, meaning you, the average retail trader, doesn't know what the hell's going on. You're like, what? Kathy from ARK bought 2 million Tesla shares? How the hell would I know that? Because it's done in the dark pool. Nobody knows. It's like a secretive thing. It's like if you're selling a house, it's an off-market trade. Nobody knows you sold the house except the buyer and the seller. So when you're talking about dark pool, there has to be two sides. One person buying, one person selling, or an institution or big money or a hedge fund. So the dark pool shows you levels of support or resistance, and I'll tell you how. So again, we'll bring up Discord. We'll bring up the dark pool for the SPY. We'll make it nice. This is somebody else did a different trade in between or a different search. So TR, let's see, DP levels. That stands for dark pool levels. And then we'll look at the SPY, let it pop up, bring it nice and big. Okay, so we'll just start at the top to make sure everybody understands exactly. It's telling me, look for the largest pool levels. Okay, so 1.86 billion at 407 on the SPY. Okay, that's not that significant. 8.75, that's a little larger, obviously, than 1 billion. It's 7 times larger. 402, again, smaller. When you look at the massive level, $23 billion worth of SPY is being bought or sold at this level. Look at the number, $400.39. Where did we close at yesterday? $400.59, telling me that that level of 439 is either going to be a massive support level, where if it hits that level, it's going to bounce higher. Now, what does that mean for your stocks? If it hits that level, it's going to bounce higher. So if the market's going up and you're in Apple, it's going up too. If the market's going up and you're in Netflix, it's going to go up too. If the market breaks that level of support, then your Netflix, Apple, Intel, it's all going to go down as well. They all go together. It rides the wave. So when we look at these levels of support, you say, okay, Matt, it's obvious. I read everywhere, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. I know that 400 is a key level of support. Any idiot knows that. Okay, what happens if we break 400? If you break 400, to the downside. And again, plus or minus 20 cents. So you're at 400.39, meaning I'll just give you the 400 number flat. If we break 400, you see 399.76 sometime this morning on the SPY. You see the US dollar going up a little more. So let's say the US dollar is going up to, I'll just give you for instance, so that when you see it happen, you can be like, okay, it's happening exactly what it said, 102.31. So I would pay key attention to 102.50. If the US dollar spikes over 102.50 and you see the SPY going under 400, specifically, let's say 399, like 70, then the next level down is 398.18, which will probably be 398 flat. Meaning, if you break 400, you're not going to see the next level of support to 398. And just because the 398 level's there does not mean it's going to act as support. It could breach that as well, depending on what is going on with this external data. Now, again, tomorrow is the real information because you have the Fed. Thursday, you have a ton of earnings. Yes, there are some earnings plays today and tomorrow. However, if you look at the next level down, you're looking right under 396, 395.96. And again, under that, you're 393, then 391. So when you heard me earlier, or if you follow me on Twitter, and early in the week, I said, don't be surprised when we see 391 on the SPY. I took it from this dark pool level. I said to myself, the Fed's going to come out. They're still going to be extremely hawkish. You know, the world, as far as what I see from Australia, Germany, Spain, Italy, the UK, we're headed to recession. They're headed to recession. China's headed to recession. So if everybody else is struggling with their economies, do you think the U.S. economy can hold up on its own? We are the world's largest economy. No, because we have a ton of trading partners. We get supplies from all overseas, and we sell worldwide our products, just like China sells their products worldwide. So it's not like we can say, okay, recession is only going to happen in China. It's only going to happen in Italy. Oh, it'll happen in Greece because, you know, their economy in Greece is going down. No, it will be a worldwide. It's like a domino effect. One goes into the other, goes into the other, goes into the other, and the other. Okay, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so that's your summary today. I mean, that's why I'm here every morning. I mean, I'm going to answer some questions, but understand I'm here to try and give you information to help you come up with the correct strategy. I talk about strategy all the time. Strategy isn't like, shit, the market's going down, man. The market's going down. I'm going to buy some SPY puts. It's like, that is a strategy, but execution is like, I think the market's going down, but it's not going to go down directly on open. So what would I look for today? All right, well, if I'm looking for buy puts on the market and I say, okay, well, it's likely to be bought up at open, where would I look to get into my puts? All right, well, I pointed out the two dark pool levels, right? 404 and change, we rejected 405 yesterday. So my second rejection point, should we go up there, would be 405. I would enter the same puts that I entered yesterday. All right, let's say the market gets bought up. Where am I looking for it to reject first? 402.50. That would be the first rejection point. So at 402.50, if I see rejection, and again, you don't have to trade within the first 30 minutes of the day. It's safer if you just analyze. You're at work, you're not at work, you're at home. All you do is trade. There are some great traders. In fact, one of my buddies, PB, he doesn't like to trade like me before 10:30 because he likes to process the market. Now, if you look at somebody like Romeo on our platform who does great live streaming, he likes to trade early. He uses the candlesticks. He can tell you within a minute if the stock is going up or down. He gives you the entry, and then they know how to secure profit as it's going. All right, so let's see what kind of questions we have today. Carlos, you going to help me out or you want me to do it? I don't care, man. All right, I'll do it. Yeah. All right, let's do this one. All right. Hey, Matt, CCL puts up 35% yesterday. You are right on the morning spike, then sell off all day. Yes. Okay. So I mentioned this yesterday. What do we see in certain stocks? Certain stocks have certain patterns. Now, I'm not going to talk about Carnival, but yes, it's good to have your strategy. I'm going to talk about Bitcoin related stocks, Mara, Riot, Coinbase, because something that I've noticed on those, and I don't trade them a hell of a lot of times, but something I notice is they like to spike in the morning. They like to spike after open. So you'll see something like this, and then it'll come down. Then they look like they're going to rebound, but they usually drop like this. Understand that Mara is one of the most heavily shorted stocks out there right now. So, Matt, couldn't there be a squeeze? Yes, there could. If the markets respond positively to all the earnings coming out later this week, and the markets hold their own, and we kind of see the SPY going back up, yeah, crypto's going to follow, or crypto might even lead the way. And if it does, you'll see Riot, Mara, Coinbase shoot up. But they had their fun about a week and a half ago. Please, if you're here and you like what I say, first off, come back tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be an extremely important day, but most important will be Thursday. Give me a thumbs up, ask a question, make a comment. All right, next comment. Let's see. Fredo, good morning, Matt. Which AMD play did you enter? I jumped into a $65 put. It's on, unfortunately, it's not on my Robinhood or Webull account. It's in my Morgan Stanley account. For me to do that, I'd have to go into the other room, but I usually go in or at the money. So let me just see. AMD was, no, I didn't go. You went $65. Oh, you probably went out some days. It was $73.50. I think I got into the $74 puts that expired this Friday. Why did I only go out to Friday? Because I always speak about buying extra time. Give yourself enough time to be correct. Because AMD had earnings. I know that Samsung is putting a lot of pressure on chip companies right now. I know that AMD has to pull a freaking rabbit out of the hat to have good earnings. And I happen to think AMD is going to get sold off. I think NVIDIA will get sold off. I think the whole chip sector. And I think that they will be bought. So I'm going to see a huge decline spike. And then people will say, I'm going to buy it for the long term. So yeah, it's not like I'm going to be holding. I'm going to take my profit when I can. Okay. What do we got here? Any input on employment cost index coming down to 1% this morning? I believe 1.2 was expected. When we talk about employment, I'm more or less going to focus on the jobs data on Friday. The employment cost index, I mean, there's so many different variables that could go into that, especially with all the layoffs and the severance packages and things of that nature. I'm going to stay away. Let's go into this one. Any idea about Tesla or the Qs today? Again, the Qs are not going to break away from the market. If the Dow looks a little better as far as Dow stocks like a Carnival and Airlines, a Boeing, pre-market, tech stocks are not favorably right now. I'd rather be in a, if I had to be long, if someone said you have to buy something and hold and you can't short it, I would rather be in a Dow play rather than a tech play right now, unless I knew a tech company was going to come out with great information. But Tesla, I mentioned exiting out of last week, the puts on Tesla were going crazy. The institutions were selling calls. So I expected a pullback on Tesla. Now understand, Tesla's still a great company. Is it a great investment? Yes, it was, but I think it's up 72% in the last 23 trading days. 72% in 20 trading days. That is just ridiculous. The valuations move too crazy. So for me, Tesla could be somewhat dangerous. Let's remember, when I play Tesla options, I'm currently 18 victories, 3 losses, and 1 completely break even. So when I play Tesla, I better know to be right, because you can lose or win a lot of money playing with Tesla. What do we got here? Christine, great inflow as usual. I appreciate that. That is really nice to say. Again, I come on here to help the retail trader because most retail traders struggle. I'll tell you a quick story. The guy that moves me, he's a trader, and he was just telling me about what he did. He had some SPY calls or puts or something, and he's telling me he's up $8,000, and he didn't know when to sell, and he's holding on to it. And the next morning, his $8,000 was worth $2,000, and his green turned to red because he just didn't know to sell, and he's working all day because he's moving people. So again, when you're entering or exiting a position, you must have a complete strategy. Know exactly what you're looking for. If you're making an investment of $5,000 and it goes up 60% and it's worth $8,000, you should know, gee, is that my exit? Am I looking for 10,000? Okay, should I have a trailing stop loss? I'm up 3,000. If it goes down 1,000, I'm going to have my system just automatically sell it. I'm going to put in a trailing stop loss. If he did that, he would still be $2,000 profitable, rather $2,000 in the red. Understand, $2,000 is his weekly salary from running a company, from being an entrepreneur and owning the company. $2,000, $100,000 a year. You can't go from 2,000 green to 2,000 red and call yourself a good trader. You need to have a trailing stop loss. I hate stop losses, but a trailing stop loss tells me that I'm going to lock in profit. Oh, great. I haven't actually mentioned this. So let's talk about the SPY today. I spoke about the SPY. I spoke about support and resistance 405, 402.50, the 400 level, which is actually 439 cents. Under that, you're talking 398 and 396. So again, I'll give you a bull case scenario. Bull case scenario is, hey, we're going to buy the dip today. This is institutions, big money, hedge funds, things like that. So anytime it dips, they're going to rip it higher. So where could be the max? Well, again, we've got the Fed speaking tomorrow. Inflation or interest rates going up a quarter basis points. Yes, we all know it. It's baked into the market. It's going to be more about earnings on Thursday. And again, the bearish plays that I've seen on Tesla, Amazon, Apple, Meta. Let's remember, I used to be the biggest Meta fan, saying they beat every freaking quarter until the recession started, until the pandemic started, and then things kind of flipped around. Their advertising dollars went out the freaking window. So until I see advertising dollars come back, yes, I think companies like Meta are going to struggle. I know that there are supply chain issues still with Apple. I know that there are a bunch of sales going on, so they're actually trying to sell their products a little quicker to inflate their numbers. They were in the fourth quarter as well. So let's just see what we got here. Lucid puts, I didn't actually answer the question. Okay, sorry, my bad. I do that sometimes. All right, so the SPY, bull case scenario, okay? So say you actually think the market's going to be green today, okay, or the market's green today. Here's what we're likely to see. Again, the SPY is sitting at 459. We could see it drop under to the 399, like 60 level. Remember, plus or minus 40 cents. So if it goes 399.60, again, this is bull case scenario, you're going to see a jump, and from 399.60, you're going to be back at 401. And then when it's 401, you're going to be like, oh, it's 401. Let me buy some calls. And before you turn around, it's going to be 402.74. And then you're going to say to yourself, Matt told me 402.50 was key support or resistance. Maybe it'll resist. So again, if they're buying the dip and the market gets strong, and I don't know why it would, then yeah, I could see us running back to 405, which was the high from yesterday. Now, why don't I think that's going to happen? Again, Chinese market was off 3% on Monday, was off 1 or a little over 1% yesterday. Not that the Chinese market controls our market, but they do run a similar pattern, okay? So what do I assume is going to happen today? I'm going to assume we're going to see a loss on the SPY. I mean, my prediction again, okay, bear case scenario. Bear case scenario is we see the same reaction yesterday. It gets bought up at open, and then we sell off, and maybe there's a little bit of a U towards the end of the day, but it's going to be at a lower point. So my best guess estimate is we're starting at 459 cents. In fact, we're going to start at 401 on the SPY. Let's see, almost 402. Okay, so it's going to be identical to yesterday. You want my prediction? We're going to start at 402. They're going to buy the market up to 404 on the SPY. And then all of a sudden, we're going to see a drop, a significant drop. It'll be a 5 or 10-minute drop. It might happen at 9:55 a.m. It might happen at 10:15 a.m. Again, this is how I plan to trade today. And then what would happen is we'd revisit the same support levels we saw yesterday. Okay, well, at 401, it's going to bounce a little. Okay, it missed 401. It's going back to 400. What's likely to happen today is the same thing that happened yesterday going into the Fed's talk tomorrow, okay? There's going to be a ton of choppiness. And if there is any spike up or spike down, it's going to be manipulation. When I say spike up, if anybody is buying the market ahead of all this information Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, jobs numbers, it's just bullshit. Don't buy it. Don't get faked out. Understand what you're doing. So Lucid, somebody said, do you think there'll be another squeeze? The reason Lucid ran from $8 to $15 was not a squeeze. It was rumors that Saudi company wants to entirely engulf and buy out Lucid. If that happens, they obviously have to offer a premium on the stock. Again, I mentioned the dark pool level yesterday, that 1.4 million shares were being sold at 15. Let's see with this one. Which indicators do you use to when calls or puts being sold instead of the board? Yeah, exactly. Romeo did a perfect orb lesson, kind of explaining that. So again, Romeo's lessons are listed on our Discord. He goes on, if you're not with him live, you can watch the replay. A lot of people, I was at work, I just don't have time. His lessons are killer. His lessons aren't any additional money. They're free if you're part of our Discord. So please, pay attention to those. I don't see any other questions. We're 30 minutes in. I've got to get back to Discord, and then I've got some stuff to do today. I'm still sweating. I still am COVID positive. I have sweats. I have a little bit of a fever. I have congestion. Be extremely careful. There are various strains. My 2 daughters also tested positive. Not my fault. They got me sick. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Please join me tomorrow. But most importantly, if you're going to join me one extra day this week, it's got to be on Thursday. Thursday morning is going to be extremely important. Maybe I can even find a guest to come on and shoot the shit with me. Who knows? All right, have a great day, everybody. Trade successfully. Remember, don't ride that freaking elevator. Get your profit, and if you want to re-enter when it goes down, re-enter. Always a cash account is king, and I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great